Governor Olsen, you have today decided to keep the policy rate unchanged while sharpening the message that the key rate will be raised in September. What's holding you back from not lifting rates already at this juncture now in June?
Well, if you compare with the interest rate path we presented in March, the new information we've got so far, all consideration taken together, more or less confirm the picture that we had. So the conclusion was to stick to our plan from March, meaning that in this interest path is more or less similar with the one from March, which indicates that there's the time for a first interest rate increase is coming closer, and we have been even more precise than we were in March and signalized that September is the month, as we now see the outlook for prices and the economy.
But by starting to tightening monetary policy in September, Norges Bank is moving somewhat ahead of its peers in Stockholm and Frankfurt. Is it a bold move to start raising rates now that we see a slowdown in European growth?
Well, as we see it now, it's the correct move. The outlook for the economy is positive. The activity is growing. Price inflation is below the target just now, but it will pick up in accordance with a tighter economy, tighter labor market, and you know the Norwegian economy is also affected positively by higher oil prices. So and there are different features in our economy compared to some of our neighboring countries. So this is the correct move as we see it now. But there is always uncertainties around any forecast.
Yeah. What about the rising trade tensions between U.S. and China? Could this eventually hamper the recovery that we've seen in the Norwegian economy?
The board is quite explicit that the increased unrest that may come out of accelerated sanctions on trade internationally, which we have had so far, and if that trend continues, that is today a worry also for us, and is an important part of the risk picture that we draw.
To what extent is the weak currency lending you a hand to start raising rates now in September? Weak currency. We see the weak currency and the higher oil prices actually pulling up the rate path in the medium to near term.
Well, the currency channel and currency movements are always, for a small open economy, and Norway in particular, part of the picture, and we will take any future movements in the currency into consideration when we decide on the interest rate path forward, going forward.
Now that you will start raising rates in September, are you concerned about the high debt to income ratios among Norwegian households?
Well, that's a debt level which has been quite high for quite some time, but you're right, it's also increasing because the increase in debt is still somewhat above nominal income growth. So in that sense, it remains a worry. But on the other hand, if the growth in housing debt has, after all, the growth rate has decreased somewhat over time, and also we now foresee most likely a more moderate growth in housing prices compared to the near past. Yep. But there again, also in this area there are uncertainties, and it's a field of the economy which we follow quite closely.